Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am going to go live a little later today and go a little deeper on this, but this was so fresh that I just wanted to come in now and do just a little short, give you a little short teaser. So it is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday in the Unshakable Wellbeing group. I just had a really beautiful session, a deep session with one of my clients. She always goes pretty deep, actually. And I wanted to share some of the insights that she had, and what she was sharing with me opened up a memory that I had about one of my insights that kind of changed a lot for me. So she had an experience this weekend of dealing with other people's chaos, shall we say. So I want to start there, because we are living in a world, all of us, where there's constant chaos around us, from politically, environmentally, socially, on these like macro levels, and then at the micro level, we're also just constantly bumping into the humans around us who are living in whatever form of chaos they have going on in their minds. We all have some chaos in our minds. This is not a judgment of that on any level. What I really hope to share more with you here is this understanding that I've been exploring, shall we say, this truth that I've been living into, that's based on the work of a gentleman named Sydney Banks. And he coined this work, the three principles. And the idea of it is that, one of the ideas is, we are all experiencing the world through the filter of our own consciousness and our own thinking, right? So our thoughts go, as our thoughts go, so our experience is. As our thoughts go, so our experience is. Getting back to my client, so we talk about this, we do a little exploration of this in our sessions, and then we move the body, then we do the yoga, the qigong, the somatic movement, to embody whatever it was that came through, to release whatever it is that needs to go. And on that note, she had a very stressful weekend, dealing with some other people's chaos. And she's really good at managing other people's chaos. Let me put it that way. She's like, she does it with aplomb. However, that's exhausting, right? It's exhausting to deal with other people's spinning, however that turns out in life. So she did a lot of that and just came to the session today, obviously very tense, very exhausted, very stressed out from having to manage the things that she was managing this weekend. And we talked about it. We talked about this truth, or this understanding that we are bumping up against others' experience, and how their experience can trigger our own habits of mind, scary habits of mind, worries, thoughts that may take us into tension and overwhelm. And the more that we talked, the more we released, and then we shook and we stretched, and we did a lot of the embodied practices that just help you release and kind of come home to a clearer mind, more presence, more integrated and embodied presence. And she shared with me at the end, she gave me permission to share, that she had this beautiful vision, this beautiful image. And this is when I talk about how insights, and embodied insights in particular, when they come up or down, sometimes it feels like getting a download. When you get a download, it can be a game changer. It helps you see things so that you recalibrate and you go, that's them, that's not me. And I don't have to get into my tense, worried mind, because this person is living in their own chaos. And I've learned to see, I'll share with you her insight in a minute, but I've learned to see, especially when I'm in a calmer state, I've learned to kind of see other people's chaos and look at it with more compassion. That's what I want to say. I have more compassion for seeing people and how we are all living. Nobody's immune to this on the planet. We are all living at the level wherever where our elevator of consciousness is. That's where we're living. And some people exist in a very low level of consciousness, as we know, or a very tense, nervous, worried, constantly, crisis oriented level of consciousness. And frankly, we're conditioned to believe that that's truth. That's what I really want to say. We're conditioned to believe that that's the truth. It's not. It's their truth. The news you watch, I'm not saying these things are not happening, because they are, but the news is designed to put us in that state, right? So let me go back to my client and her beautiful metaphor. She comes up with the most beautiful images and metaphors, and she shares them with me. She allowed me to share this. So the image for her was of her being in the ocean, surrounded by the lapping, constantly moving waves, constantly moving, right? Coming at you. And you just know, when you're in an ocean, you just know that never stops, never, from the beginning of time to the end of time, the ocean will be the ocean. The waves are always going to hit. Sometimes they're little waves and they're just lapping and you can dance with them. And sometimes they're massive waves and you are, needing to fight or struggle with them and in them. And she shared, this image that came to her and how she understood that. Her understanding was, oh, this is other people. This is other people's nervous systems. This is other people's experiences. And I'm living in the world of other people in my job, in my life, and I'm going to be navigating that. So how can I, in my nervous system, not kind of live in that state of like, oh, here's another one. Oh, here's another wave. Oh my God. Okay, this one's coming. This one's coming. And we tend to live like that, right? Like, oh, this one's coming up behind me. And you can see I'm doing that with my body purposefully. Like my chest is tight, my shoulders are squeezing. So there is a way. So that was her understanding. And I thought that was really beautiful. And I wanted to share that with you. And that to me is the truth. We are always like, there's no getting to the other side. There's no arriving where there's not going to be waves on the ocean. There is just changing your relationship to the waves. That's what she and I co-created that insight together. And again, I want to go a little deeper on it because I shared a dream with her that I had a similar dream that was similar to her metaphor of being in an ocean and treading water and feeling exhausted and worried and tired and like, how long am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to drown? Like the feeling in the dream was very visceral and very, very scary. And to me, that was a metaphor of like all the worry, the constant worry loop, the fear that I was living in at the time in my life. But in the dream, what I was shown, this was really interesting. And to this day, I will always remember this dream. So the dream went on. I was just treading waves, treading water. And, when you're treading water over time, you get tired, more exhausted. And in the dream, in an instant, it was like I took a breath, something switched, a light bulb went off. And suddenly, pew, I shot up into the sky and flew. So that's a little different than her metaphor. For me, though, it's similar. It's similar to, you can have a game-changing insight. And for me, the game-changing insight in that dream was like, I can do something totally different. Oh, I thought I just had to sit here and tread water for hours and hours and exhaust myself and live in fear that like, I'm not going to make it out of here. But, oh, shoot, I didn't even realize I could fly. Like, well, that's a new insight. To me, that's an insight, a game-changing insight that changes the line. And then I'm flying above the water and like, the water is down there. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you today because it was really fresh in the session with her. And I will do probably we'll see what time I get home today, if I can do a more official Wednesday well-being with an actual practice. Excuse me. I'm very throaty today. So I'm going to hop off. But if you want, just take a moment if you're listening, and let's breathe together and get into these really wise, beautiful animal bodies that we live in. We're still in our brain. There's nothing wrong with the brain or the thinking, but we're often compelled by all the waves. So if we can get out from worrying about the waves, what the waves are going to do, and constantly batting the waves or being in resistance to them, and be in our home, we can have access to those game-changing, life-changing, sometimes insights where we might fly, or we might just know that those waves are other people's chaos and I don't have to take those things on myself. So take a deep breath, exhale it out. Let me know what you hear in this talk. I'm so curious to know about your own experiences of dealing with other people's chaos and nervous systems, and how you kind of calm your own, ground your own. So more on this week. And thank you so much. And there's one more free class. I want to just pop that in at the end. One more free class on Friday, a movement medicine class, plus the movement medicine series. The whole 10-week series is starting soon. So I'm going to share more about that soon. But thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Wednesday.